Welcome back, everybody, to the EdgeVerse Techcast. This is where you can explore the technology that's shaping the intelligent edge. And I am one of your hosts, Kyle Dando.
And I'm Bridgette Stone. Today's episode is all about what it means to not just use open source, but to lead it. Open source isn't just a buzzword. It becomes the backbone of modern software. And one project at the heart of this movement is Zephyr RTOS.
That's right, Bridgette. And here's the twist. NXP isn't just adopting Zephyr, we're helping lead it. From governance to engineering to sustainability. We're joined by David Leach, who heads up NXP's Zephyr project engineering team. We've talked about Zephyr on several of our past episodes, but today, David's going to help us go real deep. David, welcome to the show. Why don't you spend a little time to properly introduce all that you do for NXP and the Zephyr project?
Well, thank you, Kyle and Bridgette, for inviting me to your podcast. Yes, internally in NXP, I help lead and coordinate all of the activities that we do around Zephyr project. That includes helping us scale it as we've been scaling inside of NXP, some of our enablement. But also I'm very active in the upstream, as is my team, and I'm a TSC member. Since NXP is an original platinum member, I also represent NXP's interests on the governing board.
Well, thanks, David, for being here. And I know a lot of companies use open source, but not all of them contribute. Why does NXP take such an active role?
We don't look at open source as just free code. A lot of people do look at it that way, but it's not free code because what we see is a shared investment across the community members. So when we contribute to Zephyr, whether it's our engineering time or the financial support that we give to it, we look at it as building a stronger foundation that benefits everyone, our customers, our partners, and even the wider developer community. So a big part of that is the governance. When you go onto the open source or the upstream of Zephyr project, you'll see NXP folks involved in all of the different working groups like release readiness, security, safety, and architecture, because that's where the real world needs to get translated into the project's direction. And it's all done out in the open and not behind closed doors. It's one of the key principles of the Zephyr project is its open governance. The other piece is sustainability. Open source only thrives when there's a vibrant community and companies willing to contribute resources over the long term. That's why, as a founding platinum member, NXP contributes both engineering and funding to the project. It keeps the project healthy so that we can all innovate on top of it.
And David, that includes being part of the Zephyr project's technical steering committee, right? You mentioned you were a member of the TSC.
Yeah, that's correct. We're very active in Zephyr's steering committee, and we find that very important. The TSC is a governing body on top of all of the other working groups within the Zephyr project. It is made up of members from various companies as well as community individuals that were nominated to become part of the TSC. The TSC's role in the project is really to help drive or at least give guidance to the rest of the community. What's important to highlight is the way the decisions are made here, because as I said previously, they try to be transparent about everything that we do. They're consensus driven to a point. There's no single company that gets to dictate the roadmap, even NXP. And for NXP, having seats at the table means that we can advocate for what our customers' needs while helping to keep the project aligned with the broader community. So to us, the leadership in the open source is not just writing code, but also shaping the ecosystem and helping guide the direction where it makes sense for both NXP and our customers.
So it really sounds like open source leadership is about commitment, not control. And I want to transition to the engineering side. What are some of the biggest contributions NXP has made to the Zephyr project so far?
Well, clearly our first and primary contribution is to do the platform enablement. Zephyr project, the NXP enablement in the upstream is pretty wide. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's over 60 different MPIs or SoCs are enabled upstream with even more boards. So that's the core, that's the basis of what we try to do to ensure that our customers' experience with Zephyr and our platforms is a positive one. On top of that, though, there are areas in Zephyr that are important to our platforms, like networking. And so We put a focus on improving the protocol support, tuning stack performance, and to make sure that Zephyr is a stronger choice for our customers for connected devices. A good example of that is we recently contributed the distributed switch architecture, or DSA, which enables scalable multi-node communication, which is important for edge and industrial use cases. So this is a contribution that we did, and we are maintainers of that code going forward. On connectivity, we've also been adding enterprise Wi-Fi features to the upstream. We worked with the community to help get Wi-Fi or just generic Wi-Fi support into the project. And then for our customers, we needed to have the enterprise mode features. And so we've been primarily focused on that. Plus, we've also taken on maintainership of Bluetooth Classic so that we can drive the protocol stack that's in the upstream towards certification quality. These are features that our customers rely on in healthcare, smart buildings, and industrial IoT.
So, David, everything you mentioned just now, it shows the amount of work and the dedication that NXP has with connectivity, complex protocols, and things that customers are relying on, especially with that Bluetooth Classic commitment. A lot of customers depend on that level of stability and certification quality. The software that they choose for connectivity, it's important. And so NXP putting in that extra effort and driving that software to a level that the customers require is super important. NXP also maintains part of this connectivity code base, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Kyle. An open source project, the size of Zephyr project, needs maintainers. You can look at the maintainer file that's in Zephyr right now, and you can see the size and scope of the maintainership. NXP recognizes that there are areas within that project that are particularly important for us, and we've been moving in engineers to be maintainers or collaborators in many areas, including Bluetooth Classic, Wi-Fi, host AP, ARM64, device tree, disk and storage subsystems, anything that we deem is really important for our platforms. Being a maintainer, though, means more than just adding code, because a maintainer or a collaborator in an area works with the other community members to advance the architecture of that particular domain or subsystem. They're responsible for triaging issues, to helping review pull requests, and guiding the direction of what's going on in that area. So it's about ensuring stability, production readiness for the whole community, not just for our customers. So we deem being actively engaged in the upstream as being important for both our customers and for NXP and for the project.
David, I know that a few of the members of your team have actually been involved, and they've been the designated manager for official Zephyr releases. That's correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct. In the Zephyr project, we call them release managers. So Zephyr has a timed-based release cadence, and it needs someone to manage it. It can't be the same person every time. And so there's a working group right now called Release Management. That group manages and triages on a weekly basis everything that's going on, gives priorities on bugs and stuff like that. But then when there's a release coming up, there's a release manager, or actually lately it's been two, so that you have multiple people working together and around the world to actively manage the process of getting the code base to the point where it's ready to release. We've served in that role a few times, plus we also participate weekly in that meeting to help move the quality of Zephyr along. So the community as a whole, though, has a very collaborative interest in having a stable release cadence of Zephyr, and we acknowledge and participate in that.
And the members on your team that are those release managers, they're top notch. They are really great engineers that NXP is allowing to work on such an important project like the Zephyr project.
Yeah, that's true. Even as being a maintainer or collaborator, there's not a zero time commitment there. There's an actual time commitment where they're engaged directly with the upstream, either helping, in some cases, competitors get their pull requests in because it's needed for the overall good of the project, just like some of the community members help us with our pull requests. But they are top-notch, yes.
So developers using Zephyr on NXP hardware can feel extremely confident it's not just supported, but it's production ready. And some companies are passive participants in open source. Why should customers care that NXP is actively driving Zephyr?
Yes, customers get real value from our involvement. First, the innovation moves faster. we're building the features instead of waiting on them to show up in the project. Second, the support is stronger because we know the internals of the code that we maintain. And third, we have a voice in the roadmap, which means our customers' needs are represented in the key decision points where we may not be directly engaged. The outcome is a platform that's stable, secure, and future-proof, and that gives customers confidence to build on it.
David, we've heard about the increased customer interest in Zephyr from our marketing and our sales team. So how are these companies transitioning to Zephyr, and what does working with NXP offer that others might not?
Well, working with NXP means deep integration, right? Zephyr runs on a wide range of our MCUs and MPUs, and we are actively maintaining the drivers and the board support. That makes bring up faster and smoother for our customers. We also provide tools like IDEs and debuggers, and these are all tightly aligned with Zephyr, so development stays productive for them from day one.
So the IDE and debuggers, Bridgette, see, I told you we weren't talking about silly stuff. Now you're talking about something that Bridgette and I talk about all the time, which is the MCU Expresso extension for VS Code. The development team's been busy making it intuitive for Zephyr developments. What's your feedback been?
Yeah, so over the past years, NXP has developed a very powerful development environment to help customers as they begin their Zephyr development. So from installers to import wizards to debug environments, NXP is trying to help the customer experience and help the customer get there. But the real differentiator is our long-term commitment. We're not just enabling Zephyr, we're helping lead it through the governance, through maintainership, through contributions from across networking, security, architecture, all the areas that touch upon our chips that we deliver to our customers. That gives our customers both the confidence in the platform and influence over where it's headed.
So, David, I'm going to echo one of your statements that long-term commitment feels like the real differentiator. It's not just the enablement, it's the leadership. And I would like to ask what your message would be to developer companies considering Zephyr.
Yeah, my message is actually pretty simple here to our customers. Don't just adopt Zephyr. You can get involved. We encourage a lot of our customers to get directly involved with the upstream because it's more than an RTOS, it's an ecosystem. They are the ones that are building the ultimate value, which is their application on top of everything that NXP does and the community does inside of Zephyr. The hardware support, connectivity, security, tooling, and most importantly, this vibrant community will continue to grow with our engagement, but also with our customers getting engaged. By contributing, you're joining this global network. It's truly a worldwide network of developers that are shaping the future of embedded development in the space that the Zephyr project is focused on. And when you work with a partner like NXP, you're going to get that integration, you're going to get that support, and you're going to also get a seat at the table where the project goes next. So I would encourage our customers and the community out there in the whole to just dive in, contribute where they can, and build with confidence. You'll be part of something even bigger as it goes into its next 10 years.
David, thank you so much for joining us. This has been terrific. It's clear, as you've stated, that open source leadership isn't just about the code, it's about the commitment.
Well, thank you for having me, Kyle and Bridgette.
And thank you all for listening to the EdgeVerse Techcast. Be sure to check the show notes for links to NXP's Zephyr resources and how you can get more involved.
And until next time, everybody stay curious, read up on your Zephyr, and join us on the next EdgeVerse Techcast.